In the rain, night, my only light a candle. A million miles away, would you lay down your fire as I raised mine? Would you not kill again? This is what you shall do. Love the earth and sun and animals, despise riches, give alms to everyone that asks. Stand up for the stupid and crazy. Devote your income and labor to others. Hate tyrants. Argue not concerning God. Have patience and indulgence toward the people. Take off your hat to nothing known or unknown, or to any man or number of men. Go freely with powerful, uneducated persons, and with the young, and with the mothers of families. Read these leaves in the open air every season of every year of your life. Re-examine all you have been told at school or church or in any book. Dismiss whatever insults your own soul. Your very flesh then shall be a great poem and have the richest fluency, not only in its words, but in the silent lines of its lips and face, and between the lashes of your eyes, and in every motion and joint of your body. Walt Whitman from The Leaves of Grass. Welcome everybody to Community Church of Boston, all of those who are physically gathered here in our auditorium in Copley Square, as well as all of you who are watching us in different parts of the planet. Blessings to you, wherever you are, even if you're in bed drinking coffee and with the New York Times, which is where, or whatever paper, where I'd like to be right now, because I'm kind of wrestling a bug, as you can hear. But we're still just so glad that you're with us. And we're so glad that we're joined this morning by Eleanor Electra and Max Ridley. They're back with us, and we're so glad that they have joined us and will share some music with us, beginning, middle, and end. Eleanor and Max.
This wall divides us on two different sides, but this wall is not real. How can it be real? It's only made of concrete and barbed wire. Concrete and barbed wire. Concrete and barbed wire. It's only made of concrete and barbed wire. It's only made of concrete and barbed wire. concrete and barbed wire, concrete and barbed wire. It's only made of concrete and barbed wire. Concrete and barbed wire, concrete and barbed wire. It's only made of concrete and barbed wire.
Thank you, Eleanor and Max. And we're missing your third member of your ensemble. His name is Nat Mugavero, and he's a drummer, and he schleps his whole drum kit still at age 85 and 89, and embellishes amazing ensembles like this with percussion. Matt, we're thinking about you, and I mean Nat, not Matt. And we hope to see you again. The sooner the better. I've got a couple of things to say, as little as possible because of what my throat feels like today. But I tell you that we're in the middle of a whole bunch of events. Friday night we had an online concert featuring Lori Diamond, Fred Abatelli, and their special daughter, Annalise Merrihew. It was really a wonderful event. Saturday we had a showing of the film Valentino's Ghost, which was also a really wonderful thing, seeing people that I had not seen in 30 years here for that event. Then we have today with Greg Palast, and then next Tuesday, which is day after tomorrow, we have March 24th observance of the anniversary of the assassination of Monsignor Oscar Romero. This is an event especially for Salvadorans who hold San Romero de las Americas, Saint Romero of the Americas, in the highest of regard, especially in this very strange, difficult moment for the country of El Salvador, with its president for life, the coolest dictator on the planet, and his gulag torture prisons. Despite the voice, I'm still going to be here for that, and hopefully be able by Tuesday to sing a song that's a tribute to Romero. I was just thinking, Max, of all the different ensembles that you've been on this stage with, a couple of different total wacky free jazz ensembles, and of course with Eleanor, and with my 70th birthday event with Rob Flax and Eric Kilburn. So thank you. And upcoming, this is by way of announcing that Max and Josh Rosen, magnificent jazz piano player, will be here accompanying the poet laureate of Massachusetts, Reggie Gibson. And that's coming up April 5th. So all kinds of good stuff. As usual, I like to just go through some books that I'm thinking about, and that are portent some things coming up. Community Church of Boston was founded in 1920. The founders were Clarence Skinner and John Haynes Holmes. Both of those had a big part in the founding of the ACLU and the NAACP, as did Roger Baldwin, who spoke at Community Church many times. He's seen as basically the official ACLU founder. Spoke here many times, and his memorial service was given here by John Haynes Holmes in, I think, 1960 or so. But the reason I bring that up is that we have really just a great speaker coming up, historian at Yale. His name is John Fabian Witt, and he wrote this book that's called The Radical Fund, about the founding of those two institutions, and it mentions John Haynes Holmes, our founder, a whole bunch of times. He will be speaking in April as well. John Fabian Witt, bunch of great stuff. Then I bring up this book, Gangsters of Capitalism by Jonathan Katz, a biography of Smedley Butler. Why? Because on the back of this shirt is a quote from Smedley Butler. I can't read it because it's on the back of my sweatshirt, but basically Smedley Butler's message is, war is a racket. And do we ever know about that right now in this moment in this country? I've been thinking about Smedley Butler also because the Veterans for Peace chapter in the city of Boston is called the Smedley Butler Brigade. And they meet here once a month. And we're talking about starting a sort of an oral history of the military experiences of each one of these members of the Smedley Butler Brigade. We'd also like to interview some other of our military people who have been our speakers here over the years. It's just an idea, and we thought to call it Smedley's Disciples. That's us. Gangsters of Capitalism by Jonathan Katz. You can find this biography in our library. And I want to talk about our library, which is in the front of the auditorium. It's just been refurbished beautifully. I want to send out just wonderful thanks to Jerry Kaplan and our office and publications manager, Crystal Rollins Jackson. They have completely taken everything in that library, taken it out, culled out things that we don't think are necessarily that interesting to our people, and sent them off to thrift stores. And Jerry painted all of the shelves. Take a look, and we're calling it a lending library, and it has quite a collection of books by speakers who have graced us with their words from our pulpit. It's also got an enormous Middle East section because of our interest in Palestine, Israel, and adjoining countries that are all being bombed and invaded right now. It also has a big women's study, LGBT studies section in that library. So have a look, and it's a lending library. If you want to take one home, just let us know, and we'll write it down and expect it back from you eventually. It's been a great thing. So finally, before we get some more music from Eleanor and Max, a reading from my favorite author. His name is Eduardo Galeano. He writes in short vignettes, especially in this book that's called Children of the Days. And it's an entry for each day of the week. And we go to look up March 22nd. I haven't read it yet. Sometimes it's quite a surprise. March 22nd, World Water Day. We are made of water. From water life bloomed. Rivers of water are the blood that nourishes the earth, and of water too, and are the cells that do our thinking, the tears that do our crying, and the recollections that form our memory. Memory tells us that today's deserts were yesterday's forests, and that the dry world knew well enough to stay wet in those remote days when water and earth belonged to no one and to everyone. Who took the water? The monkey that raised the club. If I remember correctly, that's how the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey begins. The unarmed monkey, meanwhile, got clubbed to death. Sometime later in the year 2009, a space probe discovered water on the moon. The news sparkled plans of conquest. Sorry, moon. March 22nd, Eduardo Galeano, Children of the Days. Max, Eleanor, a song. Thank you for being with us. And you have a new recording with Nat Mugavero.
Yes.
Please.
Oh.
Tell us.
Yeah, it's called Playing, Praying. It's under all three of our names. It's on 577 Records. If you'd like to listen to it, it's only on Bandcamp. 577records.bandcamp.com. Playing, Praying by Eleanor Electra, Max Ridley, and Nat Mugavero. I have 10 CDs, but I forgot to bring them this morning. But there are CDs available. You can talk to me if you want.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
to face the question of outer space, and it's filled with darkness, snow falling dusty onto leaf and roof and gutter and curb. My head is pregnant with this unnatural thought, and it's stretching to allow the presence of the spirit, which swells like fruit. It drinks. You're a small fish in a big pond. It's just me and my friend here, and she's sick, so I'm taking care of her. I'm taking care of her. As in water, face meets face, so in you I see me. Oh, I would not test the depth with both feet, no. I would cling to something when I look in their eyes, like neon in a sign, so my blood is conveyed, and the undeciphered river flat as a coin, and hemmed by concrete in the town. You're a small fish in a big pond. It's just me and my friend here, and she's sick, so I'm taking care of her. I'm taking care of her. I've been looking at this screen for so long, I'm starting to feel it. I've been looking at this fire for so long, I'm starting to steal it. I've been looking at this screen for so long, I'm starting to feel it. I've been looking at this fire for so long, I'm starting to steal it. Steal, well, you might change if you work hard, but it's just me and my friend here, and she's sick, so I must take care of her. I'll take care
Thank you, Max Ridley, Eleanor Electra. You can hear their music on Bandcamp. And the third member is Nat Mugavero. So it's Mugavero. Tell him I'm sorry that I put the accent on the wrong syllable, please.
I'll tell him. Sorry.
Yeah. So check them out on Bandcamp. If you come back next time Max is here, he'll have his CDs, for crying out loud. Now I get to introduce Greg Palast. Greg, we're so glad you're with us. We never know. We invite a lot of different speakers, and we hear no response sometimes. And wonder of wonders, sometimes they say yes. Thank you, Greg, for being with us, and thank you, Jerry Fialka, who spoke here a week ago, for leading us to Greg and helping us set up this encounter. Greg, I think, again, back relating to our own history of Upton Sinclair, muckraking, the jungle. And the book that most interests us here at Community Church is called Boston, and it's about Sacco and Vanzetti. It's a historical novel that he wrote soon after they were executed. And if you don't know, Sacco and Vanzetti, we sort of call them our martyr patron saints, because the church was founded in 1920, which is the year that they were arrested for allegedly being involved in a murder and heist. And their true crime was that they were anarchists and that they were activists and that they were immigrants. That connected us with Upton Sinclair. We have in our library quite a complete set of his books. There are other amazing journalists who have spoken here many times. The other one I think of immediately is I.F. Stone, who spoke at Community Church a whole bunch during the 50s and 60s. So, Greg, you fall right in that tradition, and we are so glad to have you with us. Greg has especially focused on the United States election system, going back all the way to that disastrous thing called Bush v. Gore in 2000. And continues it and continues with predictions about what might happen in November. But that's not the only thing. Greg interviewed Hugo Chavez before he passed away, and he also interviewed the kidnapped president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro. You'll notice we have a Venezuelan flag up on the wall behind us in their moment of darkness. And another really interesting thing, one that I haven't been able to investigate, is his work on the flower moon. Remember that movie about the Osage in Oklahoma, and the true story, not the historical novel or film, but the real story you can find from Greg Palast. Look him up online. He's everywhere in a lot of places. Greg, thank you so much for being with us today, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Well, I'm glad to be with you. Can you hear me through my microphone? Okay, good.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, right. Glad to be with you. When I was listening to the music, I'm thinking it did sound like I was transported back to my youth, 1968 and 71. In fact, I just happened to have right on my desk, and I don't even know why, this here, the May Day. This is the May Day arrests from 1971. I was chucked in prison back in 1971, the big May Day bus in the war against the war in Vietnam. So here we are again. In fact, I even found this little button, which I picked up when I was in Nicaragua around that time. So there's nothing new under the sun. And a lot of you may know my books like The Best Democracy Money Can Buy and Our Madhouse, Vulture's Picnic, and also my films, including this one here, which I hope which you can all get, by the way, free on YouTube. Just go this is Vigilantes Inc., America's new vote suppression hitmen. It's available free on YouTube, and it's the threats to our new threats to our elections. So you know what I'm going to do is I've been in this game a very long time. You can see, I'm a investigative journalist because I've got this fedora. So here's a question. Do any of you have any questions rather than launch into a speech? Though I'm always happy to launch into speeches. Any questions about what's happening with our elections or anything else right now? I usually talk and then take questions.
Right here, we have a question, Greg, from,
Yes.
From our member, Tim.
Is there going to be an election next November?
Yeah. Look, Putin holds elections. The Ayatollahs hold elections. They just had their primary, so to speak. Dictatorships tend not to call off elections. They tend to make sure that they win, and that's what we're coming into. If you, what I'm concerned about is not that there'll be an election called off, because that's too dramatic, and Americans don't like that type of thing. But if you make it so hard for people of color to vote, for women, for young people, you can hold your election, but they've already picked the winner for you. And so, for example, and this is not a partisan thing, right now, as we're speaking, Congress is considering something called the SAVE Act, which is supposed to protect us from all these illegal voters, from these alien voters. Now, I've been on this beat for decades of what we politely called vote suppression. And all that is a fancy way of saying we're shafting black people and women and young people out of their vote. That's what we mean by vote suppression. It's stealing your vote. You know, when if someone snatches your car, you don't say my car's been suppressed. You say my car's been stolen. And that's what's happening here. So let me give you some breakdown. If you watch the film Vigilantes Inc., and I'm going to demand that you do, again, go to gregpalast.com to see this. Our problem, for example, under the new SAVE Act, if you need to register to vote, you're going to have to prove you're a citizen. Now, that may sound sensible. You don't want people coming out of spaceships and have all these aliens from outer space vote in our elections. And you've had the Heritage Foundation, which did Project 2025, claim that there are 6 million illegal aliens voting in our elections. By the way, I did question them, and I said, if there are 6 million aliens, do me a favor, because they had to register to vote. They give you the names and addresses. Can you just give me the names of 6? I don't mean 6 million. I don't need 6,000. I just need 6. And I didn't get one. This is what I'm worried about. So 69 million women in America, 69 million have taken on their husbands' names. How do they prove that they're citizens? If they don't have a passport, there's only really 3 ways to prove you're a citizen. I mean, there's a few exceptions. One, a passport. Now, only 1 in 3 black people have passports. Who has passports? People that go skiing in the Alps for vacation. But your average working class person in America does not have a passport, and certainly people of color, poor people, don't have passports. There's a passport, there's your original birth certificate, and I'm not talking about a copy. I'm talking about either a certified copy or the original birth certificate. You know where your mom put your birth certificate? It's about 21 million people who can't find their birth certificates. I don't even know if I can find mine. I mean, I've been born, so I must have one. But then the other is naturalization papers. But basically, it's going to cut out, it's like the worst poll tax ever. Now, back in a few years ago in Kansas, a guy named Chris Kobach. And if you see my film, The Best Democracy Money Can Buy, this is like Donald Trump's vote fraud hunter in chief. So they took this thing out for a test drive, where if you had to register in Kansas, you had to prove you're a citizen. 36,000 people were rejected, could not who had registered were not allowed to vote. 36,000. And when Chris Kobach, the fascist, well, today he's Attorney General, at the time he was Secretary of State in Kansas, went to federal court, the judge asked, how many of these people are actually illegal alien voters, non-citizen voters? He said, of the 36,000 people he blocked for voting, he said, well, not one. Not a single one was a non-citizen voter. In fact, a whole bunch of the people he knocked out, mostly it was, by the way, students at the in Lawrence at the University of Kansas. And of course, you know how they're voting. And the other are, as at the Air Force Base in Lawrence, they had several black officers who were not allowed to vote because they didn't have their birth certificates. And they're assigned to Lawrence, Kansas. They didn't know where they could get their birth certificate. And by the way, your military ID card is not proof of citizenship, because there are a lot of non-citizens in the U.S. military. They're in the military, in our military, so they can get their citizenship. But so therefore, military ID is not citizenship. Your driver's license is not proof of citizenship. So they can't provide any illegal aliens. This is just one of the things that they're doing. And also, if you go see Vigilantes, you'll see the other thing that they're doing. For the first time since 1946, the last couple of elections, we've had these vigilante vote hunters under laws of about 20-some states, including Georgia and other swing states, Texas. Anyone can challenge someone else's vote. So I can say, all right, this is Greg Palast, Mark Ginsburg should not be allowed to vote. You don't really live in Massachusetts. Now, who the hell am I to say that? I'm not a government agency. I'm nobody. Now, who came up with this idea where one citizen can challenge the vote of another? It began in 1946 with the Ku Klux Klan, which went on a campaign to personally challenge every black voter in the state of Georgia. And they challenged enough where they had a Klansman was elected governor of Georgia. You'll see this in my film Vigilantes Inc. And, but then under Harry Truman, the federal government actually started arresting these Klansmen for this activity. But now, under Trump, and I hate to say it, under Biden too, these vigilante vote challenges were not challenged. And by the way, the Klan incorporated itself as something called Vigilantes Inc., which is why my film is called Vigilantes Inc. And again, I want you all to go to YouTube or gregpalast.com and watch a film. Just grab some popcorn. By the way, it's narrated by Rosario Dawson, so it's not too painful, and it was executive produced by Martin Sheen and George DiCaprio. So we're going to have elections. But what will it mean? And that's the problem that we have. We'll have elections, but are we going to have, will the voters choose our candidate or choose our officials, or will Jim Crow choose our officials? Any other questions or issues?
Greg?
Yeah.
Something with work is both the Massachusetts State Secretary, and our federal publishing office, what do we call it? The United States Publishing Office. Both the laws and regulations, that's the state laws and regulations. And our treasury, right? Just the mess our treasury is in, but because what we coin, right, the paper money is good, but the coins, what we coin, a $5, a $25, I believe that there's the $25 is a quarter gold, a quarter ounce to TOZ, right? And it costs, if I was going to buy it, it's over. The price of gold is down, but it's over $1,500. And if I'm going to spend it, it's worth $25. It has a face value. Do you any what is going on? What is going on?
I'm stumped. So I'll tell you what, let me bring up a couple of other things. If you go to gregpalast.com, you'll see something that we're putting out now. Let me talk about both Venezuela and Iran. Right now, Donald Trump has figured out how to lose a war against Iran. And just because you bomb a place to smithereens doesn't mean you've won the war. Ask Britain, remember the Battle of the Blitz. London was leveled. Coventry in England was virtually eliminated. England lost almost all its airfields. And you know what? Who won? If that was the measure, we'd be speaking German. Just bombing a nation to smithereens does not win you a war. What I'm worried about here, though, of course, that the Iranian people were told by Donald Trump to rise up against the mullahs. And when they did, something, according to The Guardian, my old paper, 32,000 Iranians were shot dead, unarmed, point blank. 32,000 people slaughtered and murdered. And all I'm afraid is that after we turned a third of their nation into rubble, the mullahs will still be in charge. We went from the murder mullah Khamenei to murder mullah Junior, another Khamenei. What we've done is we've empowered the fascists of Iran, and it's a very, very dangerous business. And how did the mullahs win the war? And it's not a war against the United States. It's a war against their own people. And how they won? By choking off the Strait of Hormuz, which is where a fifth of the oil of the planet comes from, also a lot of our fertilizer and other major chemicals. Now, how could Trump and Pete Hegseth, the Fox News warrior, not realize that that Iran could cut off the world's supply of oil at the Strait of Hormuz? It was back in 1980 that that Jimmy Carter, probably the closest thing we've ever had to a flower child president. He said, we will use military force to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. It's called the Carter Doctrine. So you're talking about people who didn't even know the basics, the most basic military concern of the United States, the Carter Doctrine, that if you don't keep the Strait of Hormuz open, America's and the world is choked off from its supply of oil. Now, do we want this supply of oil? It's the devil's excrement, as the former head of OPEC called it. And so, but this is what plugs up the colon of the devil's excrement. So now what we've done is, since Iran has already won this war, the problem is that the Iranian people lose. I'm very concerned, because one thing we don't want is a deadly war in which we are unleashing a government against its own people. And that's the great tragedy here. They're more the mullahs, the dictatorship, is more powerful than ever. So that this is a very sad business from people who are just frickin' idiots. Any other questions? We can talk about Venezuela if you want.
Hi, Karen.
Hello, thank you. I just had a concern because you mentioned that the Heritage Foundation earlier estimated that 6 million undocumented people voted in elections, and you challenged them to name 6. And I recall, I believe, Professor Morandi from Iran, he's very well known in our circles, he has said that the Iranian government actually put out a list of, I believe, about 3,000 names of protesters that were apparently killed, and asked the public to supply any more names. And I believe he said that there were not many more names added. I'm questioning your 32,000 figure. I want to push back on that.
Okay. Pushback is so your source is the Iranian government? That's not a source. They're the killers. Let's ask Al Capone. How many people have you killed?
No,
0. No,
I'll reiterate.
My number. Okay, that comes from the.
I'll repeat it.
You want to talk over me, or do you want to get an answer?
No.
I'll wait.
No.
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, it's from the Guardian, which is my newspaper, which is a pretty reasonable source of information. And you can check with Human Rights Watch as well. And is it better if it's 3,000 people? That's the number of people that were killed on September 11th, 2001. And we don't take that as a small number. And 3,000 doesn't make them nice guys if it's not 32,000. And so, but you can check, I think Human Rights Watch had a list of the actual names of 7,000 people. We don't ever, just because we got to be very careful that Donald Trump does not pick our enemies for us. He doesn't like the Iranian government, but neither do the Iranian people. And we always have to be very careful that if we don't like Donald Trump just because he doesn't like someone doesn't make them anything but doesn't suddenly make them honest. The Ayatollah, this is a murderous Islamo-fascist terror state. And there's no question about that. None. But it's just like, I was never a friend of Saddam. I didn't like Saddam Hussein when he was on George Bush's payroll. But just because Bush changed his mind about it didn't mean that I was for Saddam. The problem is not whether the mullahs are great people. Oh, they only killed 3,000 of their citizens and not 30,000. I wasn't there. I wasn't counting. But I will tell you this. Just because Trump doesn't like these guys doesn't mean that we should like them. The other thing is that the reason why I opposed the war in Iraq, and if you read my book, Our Madhouse, it's about that. And the reason why I oppose this bombing of Iran is because you don't invite a snake into your house to get rid of a rat. Obviously to have Agent Orange invade your country is not a good idea, especially because he doesn't give a damn about the Iranian people. If they're going to cut some phony deal with him about their nuclear weapons, he will sell out the Iranian people, just as he sold out the people of America. Any other questions?
I would urge you, Greg, to listen to the speaker that Karen mentioned, Mohammed Marandi, and you can find him on our YouTube channel and also on our Zoom Meister's channel. His name is Amar Mohammed Marandi. Very different narrative about what happened with those protests, and
So was he opposed to killing the people or in favor of killing the people?
He was questioning that 30,000 number. First of all,
He's questioning 30,000 numbers, just like the Holocaust deniers. Yeah, I know. Look, Islamofascists don't need to tell you the truth. And I'm sorry, I'll take Human Rights Watch and The Guardian over some schmuck from that the Iranian government has put up for you.
Can I speak now?
No, I'm here to speak. I'm not here to hear your speeches.
But you did open the floor to questions.
You have a question for me?
Yeah, I do. My understanding is that the Treasury Secretary of the United States has made a statement accepting responsibility for instigating those protests in Iran by the sanctions that we put on that country. That's what stirred up the people. There's also, if I could finish, Mossad and
wait, so you're saying that you're going to blame the Jews for the Iranians? Wait a minute. Just stop
Mossad
right here.
and the CIA
So you're going to say it's okay to shoot down those people
over
You're going to tell
Iran.
me it's okay to shoot down those people. What did you think about the killings in Minneapolis?
I think you're way off track, man. I'll tell you right now.
You are in favor of
left
shooting
here.
down the people in Minneapolis, the protesters. You're in favor of that. Are you in favor of that? You should shoot down protesters. It's okay. That's what you think, right?
Greg,
No.
how about
Did you agree on shooting down the protesters in Minnesota?
no? This is the
It's yes or no. You agreed with it because someone provoked them. Probably your church provoked them to protest. Do you realize religious leaders in Minneapolis told people to protest? So they should be shot down, right? Maybe they were brought in by Mossad because we know that if anyone's shot down, the Jews must be behind it, right? The Jews did it, right? The reason those people were shot down by the Iranian government is because the Jews provoked them. Is that correct? Is that correct? Is that what you're saying? And you're saying that the Guardian newspaper, my newspaper, is in on some conspiracy with the U.S. Treasury? What are you talking about? I'm going to tell you something. I went to prison. I've been all over this world. Hugo Chavez, by the way, is one of my close friends. And I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't back unarmed people being gunned down. This is a big problem. And anytime the left thinks that agreeing with you just had a little song about, you had your little guys with the tinkly guitars talk about barbed wire. But you're going to say mullahs are off the hook for murdering their own people? Really? When was the last election in Iran?
I think this
We're either for or against democracy. We're either for or against murder. Real simple.
If I could change the subject.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. You seem to know something about Venezuela.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in your opinion there. In particular, I'm interested in the fact that we captured Maduro and his wife by flying in on helicopters low over the city. Venezuela had, I know this from a defense industry report, numerous man-pad missiles that could easily have downed those low-flying helicopters. They're spread out, they're shoulder-launched. There's no way to take them out with, they all probably could have been all over the city. Not one of them got fired. So to my mind, there's strong evidence that they were sold out by forces within the country so that enabled that raid. And they probably did it in order to keep their country from being invaded. which it would have been. And they've since, of course, given Trump more or less what he wants in terms of access to the oil. Do you think that there was, shall we say, and it's certainly been done before, hordes of money being poured into Venezuela to buy off people who would then collaborate and enable that?
I can barely hear you. Please speak into the microphone.
I'm sorry. I thought it was, but.
Okay, yeah, all right. So I covered Venezuela for BBC television and for the Guardian newspapers. I knew Hugo Chavez very well. In fact, Maduro came to visit me at my apartment in New York some years ago. So Chavez had sent. So I've met Maduro many times, and he came to visit me. I also know the acting president of Venezuela very well for the last 20 years, Delcy Rodriguez. And certainly people on the inside made it possible to grab Maduro. But one thing we have to recognize now so Trump is thrilled that he's now going to get Venezuela's oil. Well, guess what? Venezuela has always wanted to sell us their oil. They can't drink this stuff. It's the U.S. that embargoed Venezuela. So the idea that somehow Trump has now got us Venezuela's oil, they've been trying to sell us their oil. Delcy Rodriguez, by the way, the acting president, is one of the most brilliant lawyers I've ever met. She really knows her stuff. And if you go to my site, if you go to gregpalast.com, you can read the story about how acting President Rodriguez came to my house about 2 a.m. in London once when just before the kidnapping coup d'etat attempt against Chavez, and warned me about it. And that's how I ended up in Venezuela for BBC. But you have to realize, Maduro absolutely was elected legitimately. So was Chavez. The idea that Chavez was a dictator is crazy. I knew the opposition leaders, and I knew Chavez. Chavez was wildly popular because this is a wealthy nation, lots of oil. It was only when Chavez came in that he took the ranchos, which were, you had 1 million people living in houses made out of cardboard and tin, and he provided housing for every one of those people, medical care, education, and ended starvation in that nation. So he was wildly popular and one of the best heads of state, and I've met dozens of heads of states, one of the most brilliant, heartful people I've ever met. Same with Delcy Rodriguez. The problem is with Maduro, he was way over his head. And while Chavez, basically told people to vote for Maduro because Chavez knew he was dying, and he won that first election. But after that, Maduro just refused to leave office, even though he had lost. And, we are either for or against democracy. Maduro turned himself into a dictator. And there's not many Venezuelans that miss him. I'm going to tell you that right now. And they're very happy that the majority of the nation is very happy that Delcy Rodriguez is acting president at this moment. Maduro had gone from being a Democrat to being a dictator, and that harmed the nation tremendously. Now, of course, the problem for Venezuela is that it was under an embargo, which is an act of war. The economy was under siege. So now Delcy Rodriguez is saying, well, we'll give you oil because we want to give you. Venezuela wants to sell oil to the U.S. This is not giving it to Trump. This is what Venezuela has wanted. And but still, the idea that we kidnap other nations' presidents is the precedent, which is not the first time this happened in America, because usually we don't snatch them, we just kill them.
So why did Trump hate Maduro so much? He's certainly not because he was a dictator.
Oh, he couldn't care about this. Trump would like to be a dictator. He admires dictators. Are you kidding me? So that was not, no, it was very simple. I think he wanted to, Trump had created an embargo against Venezuela. He's the one that stopped Venezuela from selling us oil. So it's not like he could have just gotten the oil by saying, okay, we'll end the embargo and we'll buy the oil. Remember, even under George Bush, we took Venezuela's oil 1 million barrels a day. So why he went after Maduro? Because it's, it could just be something as simple as macho.
Something as simple as Marco.
Well,
Rubio.
I think he wants to be the great military leader. Unfortunately, it's not like it was a bloodless coup. I mean, the U.S. soldiers killed like 100 people on the way to getting to Maduro. 100 people died. And a lot of that, as far as I can tell, is massacres, because we used a brand new weapon, electromagnetic pulsing weapon that paralyzed people. So they paralyzed people that were guarding Maduro and then killed them. This is a slaughter. The idea that it was a bloodless extraction of Maduro is not true. So that was sickening and unacceptable. But in the end, they got rid of a dictator, and Venezuela will be better off. And that's just the truth.
Either Trump did well, or he's a benevolent dictator.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't hear. Say it again.
No, I don't want a benevolent dictator. There was an article in the Globe.
I'm sorry.
Greg.
I can't hear.
Hold on. In regards to all of these contentious things, I would say that my solidarity is always with people who are being bombed, civilians who are being killed, and that might be Gaza, that might be Kiev, that might be Nicaragua 5 years ago when the Sandinista government opened fire on protesters. There might be, there's too many examples of that, and your solidarity is always with the people who are suffering.
Good. I'm glad someone gives a damn about people who are suffering. Oh, someone says, are you still convinced that absent voter suppression, Trump lost the 2024 election? Absolutely. If you go to gregpalast.com, I'm a statistician by training. I used to teach statistics. And look at the government numbers, which are pretty strong on vote suppression. We actually keep records of these things. It's called the Elections Assistance Commission, and they come out with these reports. And you can actually calculate the number of people who've been wrongly thrown off the voter rolls, the number of people whose ballots were rejected, et cetera. And it's overwhelmingly poor people, people of color, students, et cetera. And so if you go to my website, gregpalast.com, you'll read an article that says, Trump lost, vote suppression won, here are the numbers. Now, again, this is using the government's figures for the number of people purged from the voter rolls. Now, I did a study for the ACLU and for Black Voters Matter in Georgia, where I took the list of 500,000 people who were thrown off the voter rolls. And I actually was able to go through name by name. This was not a sampling. We took the whole 500,000 people removed from the voter rolls in Georgia in purge of 2018. And again, we did this in 2000. And working with the experts from Amazon and Microsoft, who do know exactly where you live, by the way. And we were able to literally identify name by name, address by address, 334,000 people wrongly removed from the voter rolls of Georgia. We could literally name every single one of them that were wrongly removed, but that's numbers. If you watch my film Vigilantes, you get to meet some of these people, including 94-year-old woman in a walker. I was there at the polling station when this, she was then 92. Christine Jordan was her name, is her name. She's still alive. Christine Jordan, 92 years old. She's thrown out of the polling station because they said, you don't live in Georgia anymore. And then I went to her house to see if she really did live in Georgia, down the street from the polling station. And there on the wall was a picture of her having dinner with Martin Luther King. I said, you knew King? She says, yeah, King was my cousin. This is Martin Luther King's cousin who was thrown out of a polling station at the age of 92, who'd been voting the same place for 50 years. That's how these elections are stolen. It's not from space spiders in computers, playing with computers or any of that. It's about blocking people from voting by the millions. It's about disqualifying ballots. It's about throwing out mail-in ballots. About 1 in 7 mail-in ballots are disqualified. And it's not random. It's overwhelmingly. The chance your ballot will be rejected on technical grounds is 900% higher if you're black than if you're white. And that's from the United States Civil Rights Commission analysis experts. And I've gone through those numbers myself, and that is the sad truth of it. We still have an apartheid voting system in America, and that's how they win elections. And with this new SAVE Act, if that gets through, and it doesn't matter if it gets through, because so many states are adopting these rules anyway. So you're going to have dozens of states, whether that SAVE Act passes or not, which are going to use these tricks, requirement to show citizenship. Things like they have interstate cross-check, where they're going to take the lists of people deported and they're going to match that against the voter rolls. And when they do that, they're going to take every Jose Garcia in America and say, oh, a Jose Garcia got deported, so every Jose Garcia in America is going to find their vote challenged. And we saw this in Florida about a decade ago when they did take the deportation lists. Obama was forced to turn them over to the state of Florida, and they removed from the voter rolls 179,000 Americans were removed from the voter rolls of Florida on the grounds that they could possibly be illegal alien voters. And it turns out when they went through it, they were able to prove only one case out of 179,000. And it turned out to be a Republican from Austria. And yet, literally tens of thousands of Hispanics were removed from the voter rolls. And oh yeah, they said, oh, you could get your name back on. All you got to do is take off a day of work, go to a federal court and prove you are who you are. That's what happened, and that's what's going to happen. So they're not going to call off the election this year. They're just going to have it so bent that the voters are cut out of the voting. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go on because it's already 9 here, or noon there.
How could it be that half of the electorate approves of this and doesn't see through it as complete undemocratic election manipulation, Jim Crow style?
Well, let's not forget that the Democratic Party, which is the party of Jim Crow, the Republicans were not the party of Jim Crow. Jim Crow is okay, Democratic, and don't forget,
Republican, so parties change.
That's changed quite a bit, right? So almost all the racial vote suppression you see today is coming out of the GOP. But and I'm not being partisan about it. That's just a fact. But why do people go along with this? Because of the big con. And I got to tell you something. You had guys like Joe Biden, and I don't like to make fun of the cognitively impaired, but he did say that anyone who questions American elections is undermining democracy. So he's saying that Greg Palast and Jesse Jackson, who's one of my closest friends for 50 years, rest in peace, my brother. He's saying that Jesse Jackson and Greg Palast and Martin Luther King are people who undermine democracy because we questioned the apartheid bias in voting in America. I'm sorry, Mr. Biden, and for all the Democrats who've taken that position, that to question American elections is an attack on democracy. To me, it's the people that suppress the vote, that tell Martin Luther King's 92-year-old cousin that she's not allowed to vote. Those are the people undermining democracy. And as long as the Democrats continue taking that position, denying vote suppression, that's how we end up with these Jim Crow laws, because they are not taking action.
Amen.
Any final question?
Well,
I'll
Greg,
take one more question, and I should let you go because I know it's afternoon there.
Is there one last question among here the people in the room? Tim.
So what can we do about this?
That's always the best question. What can we do? Lots. The first is get my film, Vigilantes. You don't have to buy it. You can get it for free on YouTube. I want you to spread out the word. Then once you see that film, Vigilantes Inc., and you get it out there, then you're going to, number one, make sure everyone you know checks their reservation, their registration. That's how you win. That's how they steal elections. They don't steal it by messing around in the computers with your vote, because we don't have machine voting in America anymore. It's all done by stopping people from voting, and it may be you. Everyone you know should be checking their registration. Second, get out the word. This is how they take your vote. And by the way you personally defeat the vote rustlers is that if they remove you from the voter rolls, just re-register. And in 22 states, you can actually register on election day. Always bring your ID with you. So that's what we have to do. We have to fight these Jim Crow laws, which are expanding, the vigilante vote challenges, and the SAVE Act, and the rest of these horrific apartheid voting tricks. And that's what we have to do. And we have to force our elected officials to stop saying that American elections are perfect and wonderful, because they aren't. They aren't. If it weren't for vote suppression, Kamala Harris would be president. It's just that simple. It's not even a question. Just take a look at the numbers at gregpalast.com. Do the calculations yourself. All I'm saying is, if we don't take action, they will take the election. They'll take our vote away from us. And I'm not being partisan. I just want the voters to pick our Senate, our Congress, and our president. So thank you very much. I'll see you at gregpalast.com. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
This is the moment that we tell you that we have a basket in the back that has some greenbacks in it. We also have a website with a credit card and PayPal function. We need your help to keep this thing going, to make it grow, to make it multiply.
Dean, we can't hear you.
And off. Sorry about that, folks. We thank Greg Palast for joining us, and we have one last song from Max and Eleanor. We have a basket in the back that is for your greenbacks and your checks. We also have a website, communitychurchofboston.org, with a PayPal and a credit card possibility for you to help us keep this thing going and growing, and help us keep this building from falling down. All those good things that we're trying to do with vigor. And thank you, Eleanor and Max. One last song from you, and if Greg is still around, we can have some more Q&A.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate you. We got some
When I was out on the road, in the backseat, leaning up against the pane, the window, the cold hard glass. I was thinking about that goldfish you won. It was both the prize and the game. With a wet sideways stare, we took it home with the candy from the county fair. Got a glass bowl and we threw it in. If you are better now, if you are, can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell me my dear one, you were down once to just a pair of headlights between the fields that stretched out so overworked. The air was cold as steel. You have always cheered me up so naturally. If you are better now, if you are, can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell me little fish gazing through the glass, and I rub my eye 'cause something's in there. you.
Thank you, Eleanor and Max.
Thank
And on
you.
behalf of Community Church, I would like to apologize that our speaker kind of made a nasty comment towards you all. And he doesn't give a shit. Well, I do. And it makes me want to listen to that song about the barbed wire and concrete more carefully. And I urge you all to go to their Bandcamp site. You just look at look up Eleanor Electra and Max Ridley and Nat Mugavero to find that and a bunch of other songs that have just recently got a great review in Billboard magazine. So do we want to open the floor for some more commentary or questions? Is there anyone online who would like to say something or things in the chat? Dan, go ahead. Unmute, Dan.
Okay, there we go. So no, I think Greg Greg's not here, but it's sad. I think I understand where he's coming from. He gets frustrated, and I think the idea is we all need to understand that I don't know it all, and too many people think they know, and he might be wrong or right, but I think I'll respect him for the stuff he's doing, the stuff he's done. And I think we got to realize that with him, because he's doing stuff that I'm not there yet. I'm far away from being a Greg Palast. So followed him for years, do what I can, and I think I'm glad he was here today. It's nice to hear from people like that, and hopefully, Dean, you'll get more people like him to come and talk to us. And yes, we're having problems. I mean, I think the elections were stolen by Elon Musk probably last year with the computers. He probably did some of that. But what he's putting out is things that we can do. So even if they do have the computer stolen, we have to stop the voter suppression in other ways. And yeah, Iran government is totally corrupt. But I don't know if it's but the problem is Trump in this case. What we can do about Trump. And so we can't, the government of Iran, we're not going to stop it right now. And if Israel was part of that, they're not going to be able to stop it. That was stupid what they were doing. Those people did die. Now 3,000 or 30,000 doesn't matter. It's one person dead. One is enough to say no. So one person murdered by the government of Iran, 3,000 or 30,000. It's all over one. So I think we got to continue speaking up for justice, and hopefully we at the church will grow as more people speak up. And on the streets this weekend coming up is the big No King's Day by the Democrats, but there's a big contingent of Iran activists, people speaking up for Iran to protest the war in Iran by Mass Peace Action and PSL and other groups. We're going to take over trying to get a big numbers there at the No King's Day next Saturday. I'll be there to raise money for the homeless, to be more political in the streets of Boston myself. And I'll be with the Green Rainbow Party and Andrew James running for governor. So a lot of people can do. Thank you, Dean.
My job is to follow through on it, and sometimes the sparks fly, and that's what we're about, and we've always been about that. More cantankerous and more contentious in days past than today, I would say, remembering the days of Morse Auditorium or the earlier, even earlier than that. Is Lynn? Are you on there? Would you like to have a question or a comment?
Yes, thank you. Love you guys. Thank you. God bless CCB. Yes, I have a petition. I put it in the chat. What we're supposed to do is get the Vatican Nation And they have a nation. They've got 80 trillion. They got property. You got to figure out where they got the property. Opus Dei, the Supreme Court, the tie-ins to what's really been happening on this planet for eons with red, yellow, black, and white. There's some very evil that took over this planet. And we've got to come together, red, yellow, black, and white, and realize all money's been made up, all the treaties that were broken with the Indians, blacks, the slavery. It's got to stop, all of it. We have to get all militaries now, stand down together, use language apps together, stand down and go green and clean up and focus on healing humans. Humans, I have a plethora of healing, body, mind, spirit healers worldwide. LinkedIn, everyone.com. Thousands. I had almost 4,000 heaven to earth businesses for healing humans. Okay. And Big Pharma doesn't want it. Big Pharma's been totally tied to the annihilation and total control of humans and warring. If people don't know, the drug wars over a few herbs is insane what they've done, because they really use the drug war phenomena for over poppies, cocoa leaves, and cannabis to destroy families, take over, start private prisons, get people pissed off so they pick up a gun and want to go to war. And then we've been, look at the Pentagon. It's got to get audited. It's so evil. It's got to be shut down. We have to shut down all militaries. They go together and clean up their crap. I mean, it's evil. I mean, the war, all the war projects, products, programs, systems, and properties belong to we the people. And we got to go back to the Indians, go with the Native. There's a Native Organizing Alliance group. They need to take over the Vatican. I mean, they got to take over our Department of Interior, EPA, AMA, Big Ag. We've got to get all the environmentalists organized, the people that care, all the different healers.
Thank
groups.
you, Lynn.
Okay. Anyway.
Thank you for all your good suggestions. And,
okay.
And you look in the chat, and Lynn has posted some of the places you can get.
Okay. One last moment,
Lynn.
Answers lie within any human who's angry, upset. Behavioral science, most important on the planet. Your answers lie within you. We can do inner guidance training, even CARE Stanford. EDU is working. Inner guidance training. We can have inner peace police helping people. The answers lie within any human who's angry, upset. We can stop hate and violence and warring. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Where do you join us from, Lynn?
Oregon.
Oregon. What city in Oregon?
I'm kind of been hit a lot. I've almost been killed 3 times. I've got death threats. It's just really not.
Okay. Thank you, Oregon. Thank you from the left coast.
Yeah.
And,
I helped start Veterans for Peace with one of my brothers and Code Pink years ago. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. We've got some Veterans for Peace right here in this city as well, and all across the country. Shall we declare our meeting over? Oh, one more, Barbara. Barbara.
Yes.
Hi, Barbara. How are you? Join us.
Hello, Dean. I wish you were here in Ithaca. I so like this church and all that you contribute to, I'll use the word society. From my perspective, it's so important for progressives to cross ethnic, class, and cultural boundaries and form relationships with communities that are different than themselves, and listen and bring information, be invited in. And this way we can be more inclusive and create change together. That's the only way I see it. Very hard here in Ithaca. People don't want to do that. So I am so glad that this program is available online. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barbara. Really appreciate that. And tell other friends to join us from all different parts of the country and the planet. And thank Amar for helping us make that possible. He is our digital guru. Thank you, Amar. And now, shall we declare the meeting over, and shall we declare a